Okay, so today we're going to start with, we're going to learn more about the first people of our land, the Native Americans, and their art, and how we, can reflect on their art and how it has influenced America. We're going to understand the cultural significance of art to the Native Americans, because unlike a lot of Westernized cultures, Eastern cultures or Native cultures really embraced art in every aspect of their life. And then we're going to start to interact with art history as a field of study. Okay? Sound good? So the first thing we're going to do is you don't have to write in both categories, but just write in one or the other. So either a question you might have about Native American art and their culture, or something you know about their art and their culture. Okay? So we have a blue marker for want to know and a green marker for no. All right, so you guys may come up and write on the board whenever you're ready. All right, now you guys are doing that, I'm going to be passing out this worksheet. One question. It could be silly. Someone in the other class asked if they rode horses. Okay, it can be very simple. This is what we're doing today. Come on in and sit down, okay? You're gonna write one thing you want to know or something you already know about Native Americans on the board.
Yeah, they a lot of people what's it called? English.
Huh? All right, does anyone have any ideas? I'll write it for you if you want to come up.
Okay. I know.
Thank you, Patrick.
So
Yep.
English. It'll be on what?
Nothing.
Ew. Stop playing.
Keep your comments to yourself, guys.
Don't make me get on you,
You're
Nevaeh.
supposed to write with green marks.
It's okay.
I was good on you, Nevaeh. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You little fur ass. You say what?
Nothing.
Nah.
Adrian, can you find a seat, please? Hey, does anyone have anything else they want to put on the board? Yes, John, come on up. So something you want to know or something you know? It's okay, however you want to write it. Need help spelling something?
No.
What?
No.
Patrick, why don't you take the worksheet with you, okay?
No. Patrick, no. Alright, I'll see you later.
Yeah, leave me.
And later, I'll see you on Monday. If you gonna come on Monday.
All right, then. Thank you. All right, so
Right.
did they have good art? Well, I guess that's up to us today and once we learn about it, right? Because art is subjective to the person looking at it. I think that they were very talented in their work. Now, did they mess up on their art? Of course they did. Everybody messes up, right? And theirs was a finely honed craft, so they spent years learning how to do it. And how did they make masks? Well, that's a perfect question, and it leads us right into our reading for today, okay? So, I'll read the first part, and I'm gonna need a volunteer for the second part, okay? So Native Americans and art. Masks. Avian. Many Native Americans made masks for many reasons. Portrait masks represented an important part in the tribe. Other masks were used in ceremonies for secret societies. Masks were often used in potlatch ceremonies when the chief of one tribe gave a present to the chief of another tribe. Each tribe wanted to give the best gifts and have the most exotic masks. Masks were worn by dancers to tell stories during the potlatch ceremony. All right, here comes the answer to John's question. Native American masks were made out of many materials, such as wood, leather, and gourds. Does anyone know what a gourd is?
Is it a dress?
No, it's a vegetable,
Ew.
like squash or pumpkin. It's a root veggie.
I don't like this.
Well, they didn't eat it. They used it to make a mask. Yes, John.
Violet.
What?
That's why let's give instruction.
Okay.
And Patrick, anything in there?
No.
Yes.
You just like
He was just taken out by Mr. McKeever.
Okay, thank you.
No, wait. Hey, wait, what?
How did that happen? I didn't even know that could happen. She just talked out the ceiling.
How do you do that?
That's crazy.
You can only do that.
Hello?
Avian, sit down, please.
Hello? Hey, shut up!
Avian, please sit down.
Not a camera.
Can I go?
John, in a little,
Can I go to my locker so I can get my jacket?
in just a bit, okay? Let me finish reading. All right.
Antonio.
A simple face mask was made out of a single piece of wood. Mechanical masks took more work because they had strings or hinges so the eyes could open and close. Transformation masks were the most complicated because they had an outer mask that opened to show an inner mask. Mask makers often used symbols in their masks, especially animals who had a special meaning. Many natives painted masks with patterns and colors. Straw and feathers were often placed on the masks to look more realistic. Does someone want to read about dream catchers? Can I have a volunteer?
Oh, wait, no, I know. Okay.
All right, go ahead, Christopher.
Native Americans made special objects that helped them hold on to special dreams called dream catchers. They had a round shape made from
Pliable means bendy.
A mesh made from fine threaded beads were placed inside the circle. A small hole was located in the center of the mesh. On the bottom, more bedded threads were feathers hanging off in the group of 2 or 3.
Mhm.
Dream catchers look like tiny spider webs. With beads all over them, One
Perfect.
Lakota legend about the spider describes what a dream catcher is supposed to do. It said the web would catch everyone's good dreams, ideas, /dreams, and visions. The hole in the middle would let all the bad thoughts go right through. Dream catchers were hung over everybody's bed, even babies.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Can someone else read about pottery for us? Pottery. Go ahead.
Native Americans used clay pots for many purposes, such as saving seeds, carrying water, and serving food. They came in all shapes and sizes. Tribes who formed a lot made more pottery because they did not move around often. It was hard work to make. They did pottery. Clay was first dug up and pounded to remove lumps. Potters almost always women spent a lot of time collecting raw clay, mixing it in sand, crushed seashells, and plant parts. It was mixed with water, then shaped in different ways to produce a product. Once they were resigned, the pots were placed in pits and covered with brush and wood. The pit temperature could reach up to 1,200 degrees. Once it cooled, the potter rubbed it with stones to make it smooth and polished. The tribes put different decorations on their food. Native Americans needed pottery for their daily life, but it is still an important art to sell.
All right, thank you, perfect. I'm gonna read about totem poles because the text got a little cut off from the printing, okay? Native Americans made cedar trees into incredible totem poles to preserve their history. They told stories about chiefs, historical events, and legends. Native Americans used totems or symbols. Each group had a different animal for their totem. Totem poles were important to Native Americans since they did not usually have written history. Some of the main animals used on totem poles were the raven, bear, beaver, wolf, and even mosquitoes. Totem poles were like tall wooden books. Each animal was carved in a special way by artists. For example, a bear usually had its tongue sticking out. Parents often explained their pole to their children so they remembered the stories to pass on to their children. Totem poles were not worshipped, but used to recall important people, events, and legends. So if we had to think of a class that you guys have in school that relate to totem poles, what do we think it would be? History. Perfect, right? And it's really important, the last line here, because totem poles were not worshipped, but they were used to recall important events. A lot of previous Eurocentric and colonized versions of history have equated totem poles with a religion. But we know now, because we're starting to actually listen to more Native voices, that totem poles are just basically textbooks, right? History textbooks. All right. Nadira, can you read about dolls for me? You really don't want to? Okay. Does anyone else want to read about dolls?
No.
One of the doll paragraph.
Okay, one.
2.
Okay.
If they want to
Doll.
jump.
So,
Native Americans had various types of dolls made from materials like bark, farm husks, and their leather. The Seminole tribes stored away dolls on small houses called palmettos. White collar clothing was placed on the doll. The
Seneca,
Seneca people of the
Iroquois,
Iroquois
Confederacy.
Corn husks dolls were given black, fuzzy hair too. They do not have faces. Seneca legend that talked to my 25 years ago. I don't know if that's true. Anyway, the clothing is made out of animal skin.
Navajo,
Navajo. What is it? Soft, leather, well, the conflict and the feathers by all for part of Native.
thank you very much, Avion. Can someone take baskets? We're almost through this. Nevaeh, why don't you try reading about baskets? Please, thank you.
Alright. Basket weaving is one of the older native American crafts. What's that word?
Archaeology.
Archaeologists, yeah.
Archaeologists have found baskets that were over 8,000 years old. Baskets were made from the materials around them. Each tribe had unique.
Avian, please find your seat. It's a room for the kiln. Please find your seat. The kiln, it makes clay. It makes pottery.
No, that's a dude, I saw that.
There's no hula. Come on, sit down, please.
You see that, right?
Keep going, Nevaeh. You're doing great. Avian, please sit down. Nevaeh's doing a great job.
Patterns. You don't know how to read.
We're not making fun of nobody's pronunciation.
Baskets were particularly necessary because they needed them to complete the tour. Native in the
Northeast.
Northeast.
Yeah, you can read that. You can read. Baskets of braided sweetgrass.
Honeysuckle.
In the inner bark of elm tree, baskets were dyed with colors that came from the roots, bark, leaves, and flowers.
Cherokee.
Cherokee women in the southeast often use a burden
Burden.
basket, which looked like a large
Backpack.
but I don't know how to read. Backpack. They were made from river cane and hollow leaves that grows in the bottom of the rivers. Natives in the northwest made baskets out of
Cedar.
cedar bark,
Yeah.
rock grass, and
Porcupine.
quills.
Huh?
But you do not know how to read.
The back of a
Guys, come on, she's
porcupine.
doing great. She's doing great. These are some hard words.
Anyway,
Navajo. Avian, come on.
Fibers from the stomach plant. Many natives continue to make beautiful baskets today.
Thank you very much. I know these words are hard because they're not from our language, right? So someone over here put a lot of people speak English, but actually the Native Americans had their own language that it has since been lost due to colonization. All right, so the last part of the reading is rugs and blankets. Many Native American tribes wove rugs and blankets. Each blanket was a special meaning. They are both practical and beautiful. Weaving a blanket or a rug took many steps and may take up 1 year to finish. The Navajo became famous for their weaving and sold their products throughout the country. Many artists continue to carry on this ancient craft today. All right, so does anyone remember like a couple weeks ago when we did that little game on Google, the weaving game? Because that was an example of Native American rug weaving. All right, so the next 2 pages are questions from this reading. You may work as a group or individually to finish it, okay? All right, thank you very much, guys.